Hello, boys and girls. This is Warfighter here. Today, me and my friend here, if he wants to introduce himself, he can.
Hey, what's going on? It's Chris.
It's Chris. So, me and Chris here is going to discuss Logan. We had the chance to view it in the past day or two, because it's technically
24 hours, yeah.
past 24 hours. The first thing I would like to say is I thought the movie was phenomenal. I have to say, it's pretty good. What about you, Chris? What did you think overall?
I had, heading into this movie, I set my expectations low, and not in a mean way, but in a way of like, I tend to get myself overhyped for films like really quickly, and
Mm.
so I was just going into this as like, okay, it's just an ordinary superhero movie, but like walking out, I was like I don't know, like emotion was like speechless basically. It was amazing. It was beautiful and you know everything and more that you'd want in
Yeah,
Hugh Jackman's last outing.
and I didn't. I just some of the stuff they had in that movie, just the way they would interact with each other, the way Charles Xavier was acting. I really liked Caliban in this. I didn't know a whole lot about him. I can't remember. Was he the same mutant from X Men Apocalypse?
Caliban was in it in Apocalypse. He was that file keeper of like all these mutants that Mystique had went to track someone down.
Yeah,
But I'm not really sure if like that's the exact same Caliban or not, but it's Caliban nonetheless.
yeah. And I just liked the way how he was kind of like a caretaker for Xavier. Well, spoiler warning, um, Xavier had that brain degeneration disease, I believe.
Yeah.
We found out. And it's really kind of sad because they had him locked up in that giant tanker, well, that uh, water tanker. I
Yeah,
think
like
that's
a
what.
Cerebro-esque dome.
Yeah. Um, Hugh Jackman, he did great. Patrick Stewart, he did great in his role. It was more less formal, I should say. Um,
Oh yeah, definitely.
yeah,
But in a good way. In a good way, though. In a good
yeah,
way.
good way. It's more believable. Um, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I felt like in this we saw somebody who just doesn't care anymore. Somebody he's just dumb because technically he's been alive for like maybe 200 plus years. So I think the performance he gave for us was great. I think the overall settings with the mostly desert, I'd say it was mostly desert, like near Texas and everything. It was a great setting. I don't know how I
Yeah.
feel. Hmm?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's more like a Western thing throughout the
Yeah,
film. Yeah.
which nobody's pointed that out yet. That it was more like a western type thing.
hmm
A western. What was it? A western road trip movie.
Yeah, with mutants in it.
Yeah, which in this case, all the mutants are gone because I think it was it a disease or
It was um well it's the you remember the Westchester reference throughout the film. Xavier's like his like seizure attacks is what caused the X-Men to die, and I believe injured 400 as well.
like I understand that, but why do you think it was like? Why do you think no other mutants has been born or anything? Was that addressed? I can't remember if that was addressed or not. That mutants haven't been born yet or anything.
I think mutants just haven't been born yet is because Xavier killed them all. Or they're I really don't know. They should have went a bit into more detail about that,
Yeah,
or I just might have not caught that.
and I like the fact that it just leaves room to think about it. Because if you're
Yeah.
in the comics and stuff, the X-Men, they're just always dying off. It's pretty sad, actually.
Uh-huh.
Now, it was clearly understood that Logan was, like I said, everybody, potential spoilers. Logan was dying of adamantium poisoning. It's pretty adamant, pun intended. Um, I just like the fact that these guys are old, they're dying, and it just added a whole new layer to everything. Like, regardless, whether he made it through the movie or not, he was going to die at some point. That's, you know.
Yeah.
X-23. Woo!
Jesus Christ.
Whew.
I honestly don't know how the studio or whoever, like, in charge of casting was able to make, X-23 and all these kids do the things that they did. I mean, like, if I was a kid and, I don't even know, man. And, like, just props to them for, like, managing a way and figuring it out.
Crap, man. I mean, the amount of martial arts training she had to get for those scenes was, well, probably not her. It was probably it was probably digitally. I can tell some of the shots was digital, but at some point, it was either a stunt double or she had to do some things. I don't know. Maybe she's like a gymnast or something. I don't know. I didn't research her. I probably should have. She did so good. She doesn't speak almost through the whole movie. Then when she starts speaking, it's in a manner you didn't expect, right? She started speaking in Spanish. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was pretty. That threw me off a bit.
Yeah, it had me thrown off for a good while until the end sequence in the forest. Oh.
Oh my God. Oh.
All right. So.
Ooh, can't talk about the forest.
No. So we're gonna leave out certain parts of the movie that's very sad. So we're gonna leave those out, the good ones. What did you think about the I think it was called the Reavers.
Yeah, the Reavers, Donald Pierce, and the military-esque group called the Reavers. Honestly, and after I watched the movie, I went with a group of friends, and we kind of like talked about it. Like, there really wasn't like any true villain in this film. As much as that seems like so like backwards, like the Reavers and Donald, I think his name is Donald Pierce. Regardless, his name is Donald. Like, I mean, he's just doing his job. It's not like, he doesn't want anything to do with Wolverine. He doesn't want anything to do with Logan. I mean, he addressed that, the first, 5 minutes of the film. It's just, he's just trying to do his job, and they're trying to do their job as well. And it's nothing like, it's not a thing like, Magneto, or it's,
what people thought was
trying
Mr.
to
Sinister.
cleanse the, Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, I like Donald Pierce. I like the Reavers. I like that opening line that he said. What was it? Damn. Oh, as I live and breathe, the Wolverine. Like, I like his mannerisms. I like the way he portrayed himself on film. So, I mean, they did good for what they were supposed to do. I wouldn't necessarily classify them as like, the, like the. I don't want to say villains, but they are villains. But they're the antagonists, I should say.
Yeah.
They were great in the antagonist role. Yeah.
Okay, so the Reavers were the antagonists. They weren't really villains per se, like mustache twirling villains, like usually.
Metal lifting mutants. Yeah.
Yeah. There wasn't a Magneto. There wasn't a Sebastian Shaw. There wasn't a would Boulevard Trask count?
Sure.
Or a William Stryker.
Stryker was we'll get to it, but Stryker did have some sort of presence in Logan.
that reminds me. Okay, the very in a certain sequence in the movie, the scientist reveals his identity. Kind of, sort of. What did he mean by that? I can't remember.
Like, what did he say,
He said
or like the meaning behind what he said?
he said his father worked on the Weapon 11 project. Oh,
Weapon X.
Weapon X. What? Oh God, I'm thinking. Oh no. Not that movie. Yeah, the Weapon X project.
Yeah, no, I think he had said something along the lines of, my father, something, and I guess he addressed his name as something Striker, and that's when Logan had said that smirk remark, yeah, I'd probably kill him or something, or something along those lines. Yeah, I said something like that.
Wait, so if that's William Stryker's son, Jason, right?
A buddy of mine told me that he had a son in X2, but I think he had passed away in the film.
Different timeline.
So this may be like this. Oh yeah, there you go, different timeline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
different
so.
timeline. Well, yeah. Well, thanks, Days of Future Past. Okay. Well, the answer is that. Another thing I wanted to talk about was the small group of mutants from the lab, the kids.
Yes, yes.
I think the kids, for the parts they did have, bring a more human element to it. Amongst the, you know, the uh, the the stuff they had going on between Logan. I think X-23's name was Laura or Lauren. Am I right?
Yeah, Laura.
Laura,
yeah.
and Charles. Those three. They bring a more comedic, somewhat comedic when it needed to be, tone, for kids. Even though you shouldn't let a kid watch this movie.
Oh, definitely do not.
Man, it's just. No, I've only seen the movie once, so I'd have to watch it again and get into really deep detail. But, man, what else? Everybody did great. The movie's just great. It's by far my favorite. It's not an X-Men film. It's just
But I mean, people have been saying that this is better than The Dark Knight. I mean, would you? And The Dark Knight has been classified as the greatest superhero film, of the modern era. So, with those critics saying that it surpasses that, do you think Logan takes the mantle of the greatest superhero film?
Well, think about it. The Dark Knight's PG-13, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is an R-rated Wolverine movie. Honestly, there's things The Dark Knight couldn't do because it was held back by rating. So, you think The Dark Knight would have been a completely different movie if it was rated R?
I wouldn't say it would be a completely different movie entirely, but I do believe that there would be some aspects in the film that we may not have noticed that were held back, but were probably held back in the minds of the filmmakers that are making it, like Chris Nolan or, the writers.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I remember, the original concept art for the Joker, like, scared, most of the people who saw it, but they had to water it down a bit for the PG-13 rating.
That's what I'm talking about, man. You can't really compare them. Logan, so far, to me, it's not a superhero film at all. I mean, it's a story about just a man just trying to find his humanity again. That's all it is. It's not a. Would you call it a superhero film? Honestly.
Honestly, nowadays it's. I mean,
it's hard to tell nowadays.
It's hard to tell, and sometimes that could be good or bad. But I see this as a comic book film. I see this as a comic book or a graphic novel into
Mm.
film. I see this, I just see this as, a a I don't want to say, well, definitely this film has made me see the genre of comic book adaptation films differently. Um, and so I do think that it is fair to say this is a comic book adaptation film, but not necessarily a superhero film,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Uh, it's got a completely different tone than say the R-rated Deadpool film.
Oh, yeah, and that's another thing,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
They attached
you
a
know,
smaller version of the teaser trailer in the beginning of the
man,
movie.
you don't know how pissed I was when I saw that, but not in a bad way. It was just that I had finally thought, because like the way it was like sequenced, it was like the Fox logo, and then you just see Wade, in the street, and I'm thinking, oh wait a minute, are we actually gonna see an interaction between Logan and Wade? But it just ended up being like a 5 minute scene, promoting the sequel, which was fun and all, but I was just like, wow, these guys are real, dicks because I genuinely thought this was a part of the actual film.
And you know what?
But
I don't think it's going to happen no time soon. I mean,
yeah.
yeah. Moving on. Man, it's just overall this movie was great. I think X-23. She's gonna have a bigger part to play in future X-Men installments if they make any. They're gonna make them, I think. Uh, huh. I think she'll have a part to play, even
I have a
though.
question for you.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously the X-Men universe and the films aren't really known for clarity in their timelines, but I just want to well, just for the viewers that are listening to this, and you, and for my clarification, the original timeline for the actual films were First Class, or excuse me, X-Men Origins Wolverine, then First Class, and then it was the original X-Men trilogy.
No.
Wait, that was not it?
No. Origins mainly takes place in the 70s. First Class is 1962.
That's not. Then why in God's name would they have Wolverine in the same bar he was in First Class?
That took place it was like before he was recruited and stuff for the Vietnam. He was probably just hanging around in between wars, it was normal.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, well that makes sense.
So,
So it was First Class, Origins, the X-Men trilogy, and then the Wolverine film in Japan. And then you had the Days of Future Past events.
Yeah.
And after that film, the timeline has changed to now First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, Deadpool, and Logan. And
some
the one
aspects of the original trilogy still there, like Liberty Island was mentioned in Logan.
Well, that's a bit understandable because the only two. Well, you know what? Not. That is, yeah, because that's not the same Xavier. That is James McAvoy's Xavier in Logan. And they had the samurai sword,
Exactly.
from the Wolverine.
Which is from the previous timeline.
The previous one, exactly.
But he remembers everything.
Logan remembers everything. I don't know if he necessarily have artifacts from that timeline. But the one thing that got to us when we were thinking about this is that they're obviously going to do another X-Men film in the 90s with the First Class cast. Now, how exactly do you address, Oh, do you want me to go on and talk about the ending to Logan, or you want that out of this review?
Let's leave that out. All we can say about the ending is it's the best ending you can have for this film. You couldn't have done it better.
Agreed.
All right, moving on.
Agreed. Yeah. So yeah, man. I just think that they may have, some loose ends to tie up if they're making these other X-Men films. Just to, like, clarity wise. You know what I mean? I just think that it's best that like, we understand, like, this is canon. This, even though they can tell us in interviews and whatnot, it's best established, on film as we do that.
Yeah. Which I think the next X-Men film is going to be based on the Phoenix.
That's what I heard as well. Yeah, they're gonna try to redo the Phoenix story arc, and I hope it's good. I don't want X3, definitely.
No. I don't know. With this movie, I feel like now, aside from Deadpool 2, I don't know really what Fox is going to be able to do. I don't know.
Obviously, this is Hugh Jackman's, last endeavor as the Clawed Mutant, but there's some that would beg to differ that there are others that could play, Wolverine, and I'm not gonna be one and to sit here and say, there's no one else out there. Of course, there are many other people that could play Wolverine. The difference is between other people and Hugh Jackman is that Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. So essentially, you'd be hiring an actor to play Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine, because any other interpretation of Wolverine isn't necessarily Wolverine in your eyes, in my eyes, in the casual viewer's eyes. And the only way you'd actually be able to distinguish that is if you're a real hardcore, and then, I mean, we could pick up on it, but at the same time, it's just not right. I can't see, even though it wouldn't be bad. I just can't see a Tom Hardy or a Scott Eastwood, smoking a cigar with 3 claws out of his hand. Like, where's Wolverine? It's a cool costume, but where's Hugh Jackman? Where's Hugh Jackman?
And I think Deadpool, he's going to keep making fun of Wolverine regardless. Since he's even if he's gone, I just think it's almost like the Tony Stark thing where nobody else can play Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr. I mean, somebody can. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, some can. But I mean, Robert Downey Jr. I mean, he's done a good job with it, but I mean, there are like at least 5 other actors that.
Oh yeah, but like nowadays. Like, if you're building a franchise in, like, a big universe, you don't want to recast people a lot,
Definitely, yeah.
You do not want to do that. Because sometimes that person is going to help bring in sales, and if that certain person doesn't know a certain person's in the movie anymore, they'll get confused, and sometimes they won't even watch the movie.
Cough. Spider-Man friend.
Oh.
Is it? Cough.
Yeah, that's been a problem. But back to Logan. Aside from everything, the future of Fox and everything, I think this film is one of the best films they have put out aside from Deadpool. As far as X-Men related properties go.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in terms of the X-Men property, I do believe this is their best solo outing.
Mm-hmm.
With gems like Days of Future Past and X2,
yeah,
I do think, Logan, in a way, has surpassed it because, and let's be real, the majority of these X-Men films, besides Deadpool, the money was coming from Wolverine, the promotions and in the films, and I mean that's not bashing the other mutants, and I mean with Hugh Jackman leaving and with the First Class cast, they're showing you that there are other interesting mutants on screen that don't have 3 claws, and I think if you're to compare Logan to the other Marvel films or the DC films, I think the one thing that you'll take away and that will distinguish this film from both franchises, combined, is that they're not trying. This film wasn't trying to show how many people they can get, on their death count in the third film. They
Yeah,
weren't showing how many, stupid puns they could have throughout the film, like watch your language or have retarded monologues by Michael Pena, throughout the film, even though they're funny. This was a film that tried to be, I wouldn't even say grounded. It was just real. It's not, I
yeah,
mean, it had their dark elements. It's intense. It's emotional. It's bloody. It's gory. It's vulgar. But in the end of the day, this film I think, is the most human comic book adaptation film I have ever,
exactly.
you know, been privileged to watch.
Yeah, man, it was a privilege to watch it. It was great to watch it. Kind of running low on time here. If I, okay, if you were to rank it from uh, 1 to 10, what would you give it?
Assuming that 10 is the best and 1 is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, man. Um, I mean, I usually do that when I see a movie twice, but in this instance, just from the first showing that I've seen it, it's a strong 9.5, man. And I'm sure if I watch it a second time, I'll probably give it a 10. And I don't give any films a 10 except like Inception because that's one of my favorite movies ever. But like, this film just hit the notch. And the one thing that I'm worried about, I know we're running out of time, but the one thing I'm worried about is that this will become like a cash grab from, Fox, and they'll try to like, embezzle like 50 million to bring back, Hugh Jackman. And I mean, I wouldn't mind that, but it's like, things are just better left alone.
Yeah.
Don't ruin perfection.
Yeah, you're gone now. Just leave it alone and let the movie mean something. Almost like how we had the Wolverine, and then they did Days of Future Past, and then like technically everybody thought the Wolverine didn't matter. It was just there.
Oh, that really disappointed me. Like, like make these films matter. Like, I understand your universe was having issues, but like, come on, that was Wolverine is one of those movies which I think is very underrated. But yeah,
Same director as Logan.
James Mangold, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, and you can tell that the studio kind of gave them, just kind of let them do their own thing in this film, as the comparison with the Wolverine.
I had to give it a 9 out of 10. Like if I watch it again, I get all the references. I start noticing stuff. It'll probably go up. This is a great movie.
Definitely, yeah.
Um,
Amazing.
if you guys haven't watched it yet, go out, support Logan. Great film. It's one of the better films in the Fox X-Men cinematic universe. Tell us what you thought about it in the comment section below. And that does it for this review. I think that's been pretty good. Right? Right, Christian? Huh? Pretty good?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me, man. Hopefully we can do more of these.
Hey, no problem. This was fun. Alright, guys. Warfighter is out.